Programs Assistant Manager at the Louisiana Children's Museum. I am an avid bird watcher, and I like to share my observations about the natural world on nature hikes at the Louisiana Children's Museum. And today we're going to take some of those observations and we're going to learn about how we can use them to create new, fun crafting ideas from the comfort of our homes. So today I want us to start by thinking about all the places that birds eat, sleep, and play in our community and how we can help create these spaces in our own backyards. So to begin, we want to think about what birds need to survive. And for a lot of birds, it can be hard to find a place to live. We call an animal or plant's home its habitat. And we can do our part from our own homes to create new habitats for our feathered friends by making birdhouses or nesting boxes. We can recycle things that we might normally throw away, like plastic bottles, empty milk jugs, coffee cans, and shoe boxes to make something new and useful. There are lots of different birds that like to use birdhouses and nesting boxes, including eastern bluebirds, chickadees, wrens, and downy woodpeckers. So I encourage you to take a step outside and take a look around after you hang up your house and see what kinds of feathered friends start to flock. Today, we're going to use a plastic milk jug to make a birdhouse. All right, now we're ready to start constructing our birdhouses. I'm gonna make my birdhouse using a plastic milk jug that I recycled from my own house. You can also do this with a 2-liter soda bottle. Whatever you have lying around will work. But before we actually get started cutting, gluing, and creating, we wanna make sure that our bird friends have a safe and comfortable place to come home to. So there are a few special requirements that we wanna keep in mind while we're designing our house. The first one is we want to have a good accessible front door. We want to make sure that we cut a circle that's just big enough that our bird friends can fly in and out easily, but that nothing too big like a squirrel or a cat or a raccoon wants to come in and move into our birdhouse. So we want to make a circle that's about 1 inch to 1.5 inches in diameter. So I'm going to take my Sharpie and I'm just going to kind of draw a circle. It's about 1 inch to 1.5 inches in diameter right on the front so that you can kind of see, right? And that's gonna be our front door. And then I'm just gonna use a pair of box cutters to make my first little incision right here on the front. And then I can take my scissors and I can finish cutting out the rest of the circle. Now we also want to keep in mind after we've cut out our front door that we want to go back and check the plastic and make sure that there are no sharp or pointy pieces poking out. We don't want the birds to catch themselves on anything when they fly in and out, so you just want to go and make sure and trim all those edges if you need to. So just like we have a front door, we also need a back door. Now the back door is more for us. In the fall, after the birds have moved out, we want to make sure that we can go to our birdhouse and we can clean it out and get it ready for the next year. So that's what the back door is for. So you're going to come to the back of your milk jug and you're just going to cut a little square or a rectangular flap just like that, so that when the time comes you can stick your hand in there, clean out your birdhouse, and get it ready for the next year for new birds to move in. Now, it's also really important that our birdhouse has drains, right? It rains a lot sometimes and we want to make sure that any water that might get into our birdhouse has a place to come out. So we're just gonna flip our milk jug over and look at the bottom, and we're gonna want to cut 4 little circle rectangular spots in each corner so that our birdhouse can stay safe and dry. So like I said, I'm just gonna mark the 4 spots that I'm gonna come back to and cut later. We just wanna make some drainage holes. All right, we also wanna make sure that our birdhouse never gets too warm and that our birds can breathe easy. So we wanna make 2 more little cuts or incisions, little circles, little squares, whatever shape you want, on each wall of our milk carton. So again, just taking that marker and making all of our marks for the future so you can see I've marked the 2 little spots on each wall where I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna cut some little ventilation holes. That way it's always easy for our birds to breathe. All right, the last thing that we want to make sure that our birdhouse has is a good solid roof. So again, whenever it rains or whenever it's really windy, we want to have a roof that will help keep our house standing tall and safe. So we want to have a roof that is sloped so that any water can just kind of wash and roll off the side. So it should come about 2 to 4 inches off the side of each side of the milk jug. Now I'm going to use popsicle sticks and hot glue to make my roof. It's going to look something like this, and it's just going to go all the way around. You can see that it comes out over the side of my house. That way the inside stays protected. Alright, I'm also going to show you all the places you can cut. Just a reminder, the bottom, you want to have your 4 holes for drainage. You want to have a back door that has a flap so you can come and clean out your house. You want to have a front door that's about 1 inch to 1.5 inches in diameter. And then you want to make sure that you have little cuts for ventilation so that your birdhouse stays nice and cool and that the birds can breathe easy. Alright, now that we've actually built the structure of our birdhouse, now comes your opportunity to make your mark and make your birdhouse unique to you by decorating the outside. Now I have just a few suggestions to keep in mind as you start to decorate your house. The first one is that you don't need a perch on the outside. You may have seen a lot of birdhouses that have little sticks or little perches right on the outside of the house to help birds get in, but you don't actually need one. In fact, perches just encourage other curious animals like cats and squirrels to come and explore your birdhouse, and we want to make sure that our house is solely for the birds. Alright, I also encourage you to take a step outside into your backyard or your neighborhood and collect natural materials to decorate your birdhouse. Flowers, grass, leaves, twigs, all the kinds of things that birds are used to seeing outside in their natural habitat make really great creative decorations for your birdhouse. But also feel free to craft with anything else that you have in your home that you want to add to your house. Just remember that your birdhouse is going to be outside and it's going to have to withstand the weather, so you don't want to put anything on your house that you feel like will degrade quickly over time. Right, you also want to make sure that you're only decorating the outside of your birdhouse. We don't want to decorate the door or the interior. Birds will do all that work when they move in. When birds move into a birdhouse, they bring lots of cool, fun things with them to decorate the inside of their house. It's something that you should look and watch for as you observe birds coming and interacting with your birdhouse. Right, the next thing we want to think about with our birdhouses is where we're going to place them. And you have a few really good options. So you can place your birdhouse on a freestanding metal pole if there's one near you. Poles make it harder for curious animals to climb into your birdhouse. But if that's not an option, you can also select a nice shady tree near you. Remember, we always want to think of ways to keep our birdhouses nice and cool, especially when we're in New Orleans and we can have some of those warm springs and hot summers. So I suggest hanging your house in a direction that faces north or east to kind of help offset the heat that we can see over the next couple of months as our birds move in. If you're hanging it in a tree, you also want to make sure that you have an adult come and help you hang it high enough, again, to discourage any other curious animals from coming to take a peek in your birdhouse. Right. Gardens are also an excellent place to position your birdhouse. You just want to be careful and make sure that you hang your house in a spot that's not near pesticides or herbicides. Remember, as we're building our houses and enjoying the process of decorating, we want to make sure that we're also thinking about the birds and what's best for them and how we can provide them with a safe and happy home. All right, now let's go find a spot to hang our house. So today we used recycled materials like this old milk jug to create a unique birdhouse. Some takeaways that I want to leave you with from this lesson today are to always be mindful and careful when creating a new habitat. So remember, your birdhouse should have a good front door, a good back door, a strong roof, plenty of holes in the floor for drainage, and plenty of holes near the top for ventilation. Remember, recycling and creating new habitats for plants and animals are just a few of the ways in which we can be environmental stewards, right? We can also take inspiration for all of our projects from our day-to-day lives in the outdoors. So inspiration for my birdhouse came from the gourd purple martin birdhouses in the LCM outdoor landscape and all of our wonderful creative projects using natural materials in the studio in the park. With your new birdhouse hanging up, I encourage you to spend a few minutes outside every day, observing the things around you and how you make your mark on the outdoor ecosystem. Try to spot and identify any of the birds that move in or engage with your birdhouse, but don't be discouraged if you don't see birds moving in right away. Sometimes it takes them a little bit of time to find the new houses that we've built for them. We would love to see the unique birdhouses that you've created, so please share pictures or videos in the comment section or post them to your page and tag us using the following hashtags. Hashtag LCM Connections, hashtag LCM Dig Into Nature, hashtag Louisiana Kids. If you snap a picture of a bird and want additional help identifying it, please post your picture in the comment section. We have more videos of enrichment lessons on our LCM YouTube channel. Check the comment section for a few examples below, and thank you for hanging out with me today.